Hi, hi, hi! Livestream number 32. Can you believe it? You know, here we are. We turn up here every week, more or less, and we talk about things. And so far, we don't seem to have run out of topics to cover, even though the topic of the conversation is always consonants and metadata. So isn't that super? Number 32. As ever, you know, let us know if there's anything that you would actually like to hear on these Thursday afternoon sessions. But for today, let us see what's on the cards. I'm keeping my little picture small today because I've just had a haircut and I'm a bit not entirely sure that it's the best haircut I've ever had in my life, but that's all right. Time enough to grow back before the London Book Fair, which is fast approaching. And if you would like to catch up with me and Dave in Big London, then let us know. Diary's filling up, but there's always space, isn't there? So what are we going to be covering today? The usual things. And the order of these has changed very slightly, just so that I don't have to keep jumping back and forth between different topics like I did last week. Right, so what's first up? First up is a very small change, but it did sort of occupy my programming time somewhat. So as the person who has currently got control of the microphone, I will talk about it. It's the Datepicker on the search area. As the search area gets more and more fulsome in its feature sets, we really want to make sure that the experience is as tippy-toppy as it can be. And this is why we've just tightened up the way that dates appear on here. I'm not even sure if this has gone live on production yet, on the real websites. This is my local system, as usual. But either now or pretty much immediately, rather than seeing a great big chunky area where data is stored, you'll see something a bit more pithy like this. You'll also see, thanks to the miracle of CSS and thanks to the miracle of my colleague who knows how to wield that sharp stick, all of the fields line up as well. And oh my word, if we have learnt one thing in our last 25 years of web design, it's that rule one is to line things up for happiness and profit. So enjoy things being lined up, enjoy things having the preview of the date that they're on, and also being able to edit them such that the whole screen doesn't jump around. So it's the same sort of pattern that we're used to. You know, you can have a fixed date, and then there's a date picker there where you say what the fixed date is and it previews. You can have a relative date, which can be a number of, and that doesn't have to be a positive integer, it can be an up or a down number. But let's say 2 days from now or 2 months from now, and you'll see the date changes. And then there's rounding options as well, if you want to round it to the beginning of the year. So that, watch the date picker there, Sunday the 19th of April. If we round it to the beginning of the year, that's now rounded to the beginning of the year. So that's a handy dandy option if necessary. Or there's quick picks, and quick picks look like this. And you can say whether, you know, and these are all kind of relative descriptions of a date, aren't they? Nowhere here does it say, you know, next month. It doesn't say March 2026. It says next month, as in whatever the next month from where you currently are in time, or whenever you're running this report in time. That's what we mean. So right now, next month is 1st of March to 31st of March. If we come back to this page in 2 months' time, it'll say the month after that. It's completely clear when you're using it. And then when you save that, you'll see that the same sort of preview is then mirrored on the page here, but grouped so that things are a little bit more, a bit less wordy. So yes, so a small change, but one that hopefully will, well, certainly will allow you to get more info on the page. No functionality has sort of been removed, but this is all about clarity, isn't it? And as I say, the more we all use the report area, the more we want it to be easy on the eye, easy to parse in a flash, even if it's a complex one like this, which is so complex it returns no results. Great. So Datepicker, great fun. I mean, it's not your job to tell us what to do necessarily, but if when you're going round consonants, there's any areas that you're looking at again and again and again, and you're thinking, oh, I wish that was to the left by 2 pixels, don't hesitate to say, because like I say, we're into the business phase with consonants of refining. We're not a young blood startup company anymore. We're in the polishing, refining, improving all the time phase of things. So that's lovely. That was a quickie. Just wanted to let you know that had changed. On to expertise. This was prompted by, it wasn't a support ticket, it was a discussion on Basecamp with a client. And I found myself explaining what a contributor is. And I thought, yeah, this is super expert level, actually. So I thought I'd take a few moments here to talk about what a contributor is in consonants. So let's hop over there and have a look at an example. And you know what? There's only me in the house, and I really wish there was somebody I could do the secret hand gesture to go and get me a cup of tea, because I'm really thirsty, but no one's here. Oh, the sad side of working from home. Not very good, is it? Quite parched. Anyway, so we're going to go and we're going to look at a contributor. Let's go to recently visited works. Let's go to Cats in Space. How many contributors does Cats in Space have? Cats in Space has 1 contributor. It's Mary Glover. She's on the Christmas card list. She's a figment as well. She doesn't exist. But we will use Mary Glover as an example. So I'm going to go to the metadata page where we see contributions. So as expected, here we are. Here's Mary Glover. And if I expand this view, we see a little bit more information. Mary Glover is, I mean, it's not great when we're talking about imaginary figments, because this is a demo account. Imagine, if you will, that Mary Glover actually exists, and she has written this book, Cats in Space. In Onyx terms, that means that she is the author. And the Onyx code for author, no need to be small on this, the Onyx code for author is A01. And if you know your Onyx lists, you'll know that B01 is something to do with editing. There's translation roles, there's illustration roles, and so on and so forth. But here, Mary Glover is an author, and she has contributed to Cats in Space. She is the author. If I click to edit, we see a little bit more beneath the hood of what's going on there. So I chose this role from a drop down that's got all of the Onyx codes in it. Here we go. A01, A02, all these different ways that a person or organisation can contribute to a work. And with our mantra of one version of the truth, the last thing we want is to type the name Mary Glover against every work that she's associated with, against every work that she's contributed to. So in good database speak, we make sure that, it's not speak actually, we make sure that we have this single record in the database, and that's Mary Glover's contact record, and then we join that contact record to the works that she's associated with. That means that a contributor, it's not actually a person or an organisation. In the database, a contributor has three important things. It has the contact ID, so Mary Glover's ID. It has the work ID, so Cats in Space ID. And it has the nature of the role that Mary Glover is performing when she contributes to the work Cats in Space. So it's just interesting, isn't it? And it's a bit of a head flip, because a contributor, you think, well, the contributor is the illustrator, the author, the series editor. But when we're talking about, importing data or managing data like this, the contributor record is a bunch of associations. How are these different records that exist in the system as their own one version of the truth, how do they come together to join up? So when you're thinking, I need to import my contributors, what is it that you're importing? You're not importing new contact records, because they already exist in the system probably. And if they don't, you're importing a contact record. But when you come to add a contributor to the system, it's more of if you get your mind into the shape that you are joining up other records that already exist in the system. Maybe if we go to Mary Glover's record, maybe we can see some other works that she's associated with. So if we go to her profile, I can't quite remember whether we've done that. So I'll click on works, and yeah, she's contributed to lots of different works. In here is Cats in Space, and then here is all of the other ones that she's contributed to. And so, just to emphasise this point again, there aren't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, blah, 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 however many, there aren't 15 Mary Glover records in the system, because then you'd have to type in Mary Glover's email address 15 times and their postal address 15 times, and you'd have to set up professional affiliations 15 times, and that's like the opposite of how we want to spend our days, the opposite of how relational database systems work. So we have one Mary Glover, and that ID, in fact, you can see up here in the what do you call it, the browser address bar thing, 167.424 is Mary Glover's kind of canonical ID within consonants. So there's one Mary Glover record, but there's all of these contributor records, and the contributor records know that Mary Glover is the contact. This one knows that Cats Throughout History is the work, and then the role, well, we'd have to click through, won't we, to see what the role is. So let's go to the other. This one's got 2 contributors. So let's go to Evermore Cats Throughout History and see. So Mary Glover and Agatha Richards are both contributors to Evermore Cats Throughout History. Let's go to the metadata page and see what their roles are. I can see them now. Contributions. So A12 is Agatha. A01 is Mary. And so here we've said Agatha is the illustrator to Evermore Cats Throughout History. Mary is the author. So it's this wonderful ongoing dance of, let's make sure that you, the paying customer, only ever have to enter data once per real thing that exists in the real world. So Mary Glover is an object, an entity that exists in the real world, and we don't want to have to duplicate effort, potentially introduce confusion, therefore, and variability in the duplicated records. We definitely don't want to tie up your time in having to maintain more than one Mary. So how do we then use that ability to join Mary to other things? How do we make sure that we only ever mention one Evermore Cats Throughout History work even though we are publishing an audiobook, a hardback, a paperback and an ebook. If you imagine a huge web behind the scenes, everything is linked to everything else in an elegant and efficient manner. But sometimes I think it's just worth stopping and thinking about that and thinking, what even is a contributor? And so if there are further questions on that would be great to hear about them, because it makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you think, well, if we go back to Mary Glover's record there, okay, she's a contributor to a work, that's fine, but what else is she linked to? And you can link tracked copies to Mary Glover. You can set up a whole bunch of contractual relationships. Has she received advances? Has she received royalty statements? Does she exist on royalty runs? What other things? If this is a supplier we're talking about, have they received Onyx messages? And we don't want to repeat ourselves. So when we talk about one version of the truth and all of the benefits that that brings to your business, it's one version of the truth all the way down. We're not duplicating data within the database. We are joining it up. So it's this marvellous, magnificent web behind the scenes. So definitely ping us with philosophical questions about what does it even mean to associate two different records with other things. It's really interesting. I think it's interesting. So that's what a contributor is. Oh, I drew a picture. It's a terrible picture. Maybe I don't know if it's better or worse than the rambling explanation. These are rows in a database, and on this first row, there's work 1, there's contact 1, and they have a role. So work 1 is Cats Throughout History, contact 1 is Mary Glover, the role is author. And then the next row in our contributions table in the database, different work. This is now Cats in Space, same contact, and that's the ID. That's exactly the same data there, in two different rows of the database, but they are references to a bigger object. This is just like an integer, like we saw with in that address bar of the browser. That was a six digit figure, but that's like the key. That's the way that we can say this is like shorthand for all of the stuff that comes with Mary Glover's record, so that we don't have to keep typing it in and having to maintain multiple versions of basically the same data. And then the role can be different. So this could be an authorship, or it could be an illustrator. And there can be multiple of them. So a little bit of diving into what even is such and such a thing. Speaking of diving, next up we're going to talk about we're going to be in our depth segment. So when I say depth, we're talking about really sort of continuing to rummage in the functionality of consonants, make sure we understand what's available to smooth you and your team's passage through the day. And what I wanted to talk about in this bit was just to sort of really look hard at the two main sorts of lists that you can get as a result of doing a search. So let's go into a particular search and see what I mean. I think we're going to have to remove some of these options, because it's such an intricate one just to see the delights of the Datepicker and how it all lines up. Then it's not returning any results. So we will set that to everything, 5,000 records in this one. It's got no filters, but we do have a nice list. So on any search, as you'll know by now, you filter your data and then you do different things with it. And these are all the different things that you could do. You could list them, you can bulk edit them, you can download the records that are associated with the results, you can further whittle down your your searches there, the results of your searches. You can get some real top level overviews. Like, I just want to see how many works have matched my filter, which is really useful for a lot of our much larger clients, when there's no real value in seeing what the actual works are. You're sort of working at that macro level of, okay, well, I'm looking for about 50,000 products. Great, I've got 48,000. That seems right, or whatever it is you're doing. So sometimes a simple count can be quite helpful. And then downloads as well. So there are lots of options available, all of which can act on the results of a single search, which is cool. But what I wanted to look at today was, what even are these things that we're looking at here, and why would we want to look at them, and in what circumstances do we find these useful? So probably my go-to result for most searches is the products list. And this is what we're looking at here. Now, the consonants team have decided what these headings are. We have got some programming somewhere that says the first column is product title, and we're going to display it like this. The next column is product form code. The next one is the product pub date, and we've decided we're going to format the date like this. The next one is product ISBN 13, and we've decided we're not putting the ISBN 13 with dashes, or the ISBN 13 with spaces, or the ISBN 10 for legacy reasons. We have maintained control over this whole list, and that's completely valid as a service to you, because we've used our feedback from our treasured clients, and we've used our experience to come up with what we think is a pretty plausible, useful first pass at product data. So I go to the products list in the same way as I used to go to the products index page, actually, which still remains. And it's a list. It's summarising the things that need summarising. It's showing me the important stuff. It's enough so that I can identify the record at a kind of visceral level. I can see that there's 3 cat heists there, and it's just a sort of a set of data that's pitched so that I can look at it and walk off. It's not going to tell me certain nuances. It's not making any judgment on the quality of the data. It's not really flagging where data is missing, although by omission, that is a little bit of a help. It's not performing an overt role of data analysis, although it is at some level providing you insight with the results of the filters that you've defined above. It's a useful layout for me. I hope it's a useful layout for you from time to time, and it fits the job for when this is what you want. There are other times when you, as the user, want to have a lot more control over the columns that you see here, and at that point, the view that you should be using is the product custom report. So when I choose product custom report, I'm going to have to say, well, what exact custom report do I want to have a look at? And these are reports that I have defined myself as the user on Feline Press. So I'll choose one. I can't actually remember what's in here. I might have mangled it over time. But here is a custom report where I, as the user, have said column 1 needs to be ISBN 13 with dashes. Column 2 is the product title. Then I need the subtitle, and then I need the pub date. But the pub date has to be formatted Y, month, day. So when you need precision, because you have a very particular goal in mind, a very particular outcome that you're seeking to achieve, your objective here is not sort of seeing the results of your filtering, of your searching, and identifying the records. You're much more in the zone of, I need to get this thing out because it needs to be submitted by the end of the day so that we can hopefully get onto this promotion at, important UK high street retailer or similar. So I just thought it was worth just sort of dwelling on that slightly, as when one comes to use the searches area, you're coming with different objectives in mind, and I want to make sure that you're targeting yourself at the correct tool for the job. So I don't want you to think, oh gosh, well, I've got a starting point here, that's fine. I'll download this, at least I've got the ISBNs, and then I'll, type in the rest into Excel. Chances are there will be a quicker way to achieve that end objective. So I just think it's worth coming into these searches thinking, what am I trying to do? What's my end result? So that's that can be quite useful. If you don't want to look at the data, at all, there's actually an export, download product custom report, where you can pipe this straight out to Excel. You don't even get to see what the results are. You're too busy for that. Not interested. There's too many anyway. And then, once that report is run, you'll be able to download it in straight to Excel. You can download the other one to Excel as well. But again, horses for courses. What are you trying to do? I just want to make sure that you know what's on the menu. You've got a sense of the tools that are available, and then you can fit the tool to the job as appropriate. Great. So when I say on the thing 2 types of list, what I was talking about there were the kind of predefined, hard-coded lists that us at Consonance have gifted to you. And then there's the roll it yourself list, where yes, you do have to set up the list yourself because only you know what needs to go on it. But then the big payoff there for your effort is that you get the precision of exactly what you want. If I just nip back actually to some of the other lists, we of course looked at the products list because it's quite, I don't know, I just like it. It's a useful one that I use all the time. Let's just stop that so that I can look at some others. But for the same data set, and here we are looking at all of the data because we haven't got any filters, we can look at just the works. So that's lovely. We can look at, thank you, we can look at the contributors. So isn't that great that we were talking about contributors, and then work contributors there. So the contributors that have contributed to works. We can look at prices. It's always quite a pretty one actually. And we can see the codes that apply to each of these prices. So now we're at this sort of prices level. I mean, you've got access to this. You can flick down all of these accessibility reports, the artwork file list. So here you can see the artwork that's associated with the products and the works. This for us is a balance of, we want to give you some preset, ready to go, predefined lists that have some utility, and we also want to give you the ability to define your own for when that is a relevant tool in your arsenal. Great. The usual thing goes without saying. If there's a list display that you would like to be able to get without having to set up the template or anything else, definitely let us know. We're always keen to hear. And on that note, so nothing to show you on this. This is a pre-warning, pre-exciting, ring the new feature bell heads up for everyone. like for all 9 of the people who are going to be watching this live stream. So we'll also put it on the notifications that come to email as well. This is why I've put these slides in this order this week, because we've just been talking about displays that you can get as a result of a search that the consonants team have sort of put together with your convenience in mind. And currently, one of our extraordinary team members is taking one for the team, for all of us, and is configuring a very popular spreadsheet, which I've said it's the LS spreadsheet here. I'm going to put this under the banner of "If you know, you know." I'm going to give you a glimpse of what the spreadsheet is that we're talking about. This is the fella. You can see, I won't scroll along it because I don't necessarily want to go on about it too much. But it's a multi-column spreadsheet. I mean, they all are, aren't they? But we're into the C's here, so we've looped through the alphabet 2.5 times. Lots and lots of columns. Down the side, you have your products. So ISBN, 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 ISBN. And if you are looking at this thinking, yeah, I know this like the back of my hand because I'm having to be in it far too often, then good news on the horizon, because we are making this one of the preset displays that you can get out of a search in consonants. So the idea will be that you will say what the rows are that you want to be on this spreadsheet, and that's how the searches work, and then you'll be able to get that data into this format without too much additional work. Reason that we're mentioning this on the live stream rather than just saying hooray it's been shipped is that if you're going to use this, we will need to know what your book formats are that you are sending in this spreadsheet so that we can make sure that everything lines up nicely. So this is a call out to say, if you're interested in using this feature in the fullness of time, now would be a great time to reach out and say, oh, yes, please count me in. Jam wants to use this spreadsheet. Jam's very excited. Aren't you, Jam? Oh, she's a long way down today. Here's Jam, thrilled about automating industry spreadsheets. That's the face of a cat who is delighted. Right, I'll just put Jam out. You're going to say goodbye, Jam. You're such a good girl. You're such a good girl. Let's go out there. Come on. Sorry about that. Yes, so postcards in to the usual address, support@consonants.app. Let us know whether you would like to be involved on the creation of this new feature. But I'm pretty sure that a majority of our clients are going to weep hot tears of delight when this appears in your inbox, because it's a real doozy. I mean, it's a doozy to fill in, and then it's a doozy to for any programmer to have to configure. I do have the draft PR on my screen. I was going to show you, but I won't because that might be a step too far. But there are, for every row on that, for every column on that spreadsheet, there's a whole chunk of code to say what exactly is the data that needs to go in this cell for this product. So, the trouble with spreadsheets is that it's the Wild West. In fact, it's really funny because on this spreadsheet, I'm using LibreOffice rather than Excel, and it chooses to use this kind of Wild West font for the note things that pop up, which I thought was completely appropriate, because spreadsheets don't really get validated, and they certainly don't have to conform to the stringent requirements of a shared data standard such as Onyx. And we would much rather that the whole world ran on the Onyx XML format. We would much rather that everyone spoke the same language so that it was effortless for everybody throughout the supply chain to share information in a pre-agreed format. But once we start using spreadsheets, that rigour cannot be maintained. So within a spreadsheet like this, there will be ways of putting in data that are going to be unique to this spreadsheet. Interest age is one that comes to mind. You in the Onyx format, you have a set of elements that say that determine exactly how you're going to describe the interest age for that particular product or work. But within this spreadsheet, there's a kind of proprietary method of communicating that. So for every column in this spreadsheet, we are writing code to make sure that we take data from the database where you've put it in. We don't format it in the Onyx format. We format it in this sort of one-off, specially curated way that this spreadsheet needs. But because this is such a ubiquitous spreadsheet, we do feel that it's going to deliver value to clients, so it's worth the hit. We would much rather do it once programmatically, tested, so that we can maintain it, so that inevitably when the spreadsheet format changes, we update it for you. That's a great role for us to play, and you can jolly well get on with getting books to market. So it's a good division of labour. So be in touch if this means anything at all to you, because we will want to say, great, right, what book types are you using? I think the owners of this spreadsheet use the word rendition. So we'll want to make sure that whatever you're using is marrying up in the appropriate place. Exciting times, and thank you once again, team member, for taking one for the team. Goodness me, what an opus. Right, speed. Lovely. We've looked a couple of times today at the work overview page. Just wanted to revisit that to make sure that you know about the buttons on it. Let's go to Cats in Space. All of these books, by the way, the ones where I've bothered to put actual data in, these are the cats that wander around here, interrupting my professional live stream. Here's Jam with her tongue sticking out, looking like a right doofus. Anyway, she's not in space, she's under my feet. And this is the overview page for Cats in Space. And I've put this in speed because sometimes you need to get in, grab the top line information, get out again, and it's just like that products list, like preset display that we were looking at earlier. We've got enough here to know, okay, 4 products on this work. I can quickly see the measurements. I can see the word count. I can see the GBP price. I can see that Onyx isn't on. It's a take all of this information in one go, parse it, move on. Which again is sometimes what's appropriate. I fear that sometimes though, with a page like this, one gets into the habit of sort of glancing at it and moving on, and why would you stop with a hot cup of tea to look at each of these boxes? So I just am going to help you swivel your eyeballs towards some of the options on this page, just so that we've seen them. So we've got explore buttons here, and if I click on explore, I am going to get taken to a new search which has got one filter on it, and that filter is Mary Glover. So let's do that. I'm clicking there. I'm going over to Mary Glover. I'm going over to search. And then I've got, my work that is Mary Glover. So the way it's worked here is it's taken the product IDs for the work that we were just on, And there's nothing special about these numbers. I can delete them. They're just strings. That's absolutely fine. I can do that. Save my search, and then carry on adding filters if I want to. So this is quite a nice way to, kind of get started, have a sort of baseline for an investigation or for a report or for a marketing material, PDF, something like that. I'll hit the back button so that we can go back to the work overview page. So these explore buttons, that's what they do. They will take you over to the search area with a kind of baseline starting point for whatever you were just looking at. So the same sort of thing will happen with the explore button here. If I click on it, I'm going to go over to the place. Same IDs there, but it's preset the search so that the outcome is set to be the products list. So again, I might think, okay, well, that's fine, but I only want to see, I don't want to see the audiobooks on my results set. So I might go product form, does not contain, it includes none of audio, downloadable audio. And then I search, and then that audio one will get omitted from the list. So, you sort of, if it's ever relevant to sort of start from the data that you're looking at, and then follow your nose in whichever direction you want to go, I find that can be quite a useful way to do it. So a bit of a speed there. Let's have a little squiz at a couple of other options that are available on the work overview page. This icon denotes copy to clipboard, and if you hover over it, it'll say copy to clipboard. And sure enough, if I click on it, copies the data to the clipboard, and then I can paste that into an email or paste it into a spreadsheet. I've got LibreOffice open here. What will that do? Yeah, you see it's pasted that stuff into there. If I click copy there on batches, then it's going to paste that data in with the link still live. So, if grabbing the data and rushing off is the intention there, then just let your eye rest upon these options here. You'll see them throughout the system. I mean, seasons is quite a good place for that. Where if we look at one that's got lots of works, and we go to see the effect of it, so we can see that there's counts of information there. We've got some problems on here, like 21 works don't have a tier. So, here's a button. Let's go through and see what's going on there. So it's defaulted us to the in-house work classifications list, so that we can see, what that's looking like. So a lot of opportunities to follow your nose as you move around the system. And if you're not using seasons, then that might be worth checking out, because the more data you have that you can sort of mentally group in any way, the more opportunity there is for insights there. So this is, again, it's fake data, so it's a bit difficult to get too excited about it. But imagine that this was your Spring/Summer 2026 list, and you could look at it and say, what, we've got 16 A-star works, but 21 without a tier. So maybe they are A-star as well. Let's dive in. Let's go over to search and start assessing our data quality. Here 36 works don't have anybody fulfilling any roles on them. What's going on? Who's doing the typesetting, etc. So there are tools in the system that you can use to group data and present it in such a way that it might actually be helpful and well, I was going to say, it's not going to save time, is it? It's going to give you the information you need so that you can do the work that is necessary. There's never any such thing as like getting rid of work, though. The best you can ever hope for, I think, is that you will be gifted better work to do, better and more impactful work that is more meaningful and less drudgy and stupid. That's the confidence promise. Less stupid work. Thumbs up. What's left? Oh, look at that, we're done. That's all right though. 2:45. Oh, I will bravely share my face because I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you have to get your hair done, don't you, before the book fair, but I should have just grown it out. Anyway, whilst I'm big on the screen, I thought I might show you because I've just got to the halfway mark and we've stopped early. You can turn off now if you're not interested in scarves, but I'm making a geology scarf, and it's to scale. It's like it's 20 million years per centimetre. So this is the Archean, lovely. Oh no, the Hadean, when it was all like magma. This is the Archean, the green bit. Oh, how do I make things work? It's so big. You see, geology is long. Then there's a little glacial event, adorable. And then here's the Proterozoic. Proterozoic, yeah. And this needs another half, like all of that needs doing again. With this needs to run out. And then we're on to the lovely fiddly bits where it was all life and mountain building and exciting things like that. So yes, so maybe if you see me at the book fair, I'll be frantically knitting this scarf that will never end. I've been doing it since before Christmas. Goodness me. But you know, there's so many things to do, aren't there? No time to sit and enjoy yourself knitting. Right, anyway. So next week, as usual, very good. I think you just need to drop us a line, actually. There's so many things you need to drop us a line on. London Book Fair, that big spreadsheet, let's save you from it. Any little wrinkles and oddities, keep the support tickets coming, and have a good week. Because I saw a crocus this morning, so spring is coming. Right, have a cracking weekend, take it easy, don't read the newspapers, and we'll see you next week. Bye.